Great. Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to the RiverWoods Exeter 101 webinar. Today, I am joined by Chrissy Cady. My name is Lisa Clark. I'm the sales manager here at RiverWoods Exeter. Chrissy is one of our senior living sales counselors. And not joining us today is Dan Witham, who some of you may be working with. Who's also one of our senior living sales counselors. And between the three of us, it's our job to really help you get familiar with RiverWoods Exeter and all of the amenities and what our contracts are like and all the information you might need to decide whether you might want to consider this your home someday. So during the course of the next 45 minutes or so, Chrissy and I are going to be walking you through a lot of information. We do have everyone on mute, but we're going to welcome your questions at the end of our presentation. When you do have questions, you can submit them through the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. If you're on a tablet, that may be at the side or the top of your screen. But I would encourage you to hold off on submitting questions until we get to the end of the presentation, because Chrissy and I are going to be going through a lot of information and probably answering some of those questions that you may have. We do a lot of webinars, and some of you have joined us at them before. We always are looking for your suggestions on how we can improve our webinars. And if you have an idea for a future topic, we would love to hear that as well. We have, over the course of the years, received some suggestions, really good ones that we've actually implemented for webinar topics. So a little bit about RiverWoods. The original dream of RiverWoods was created around the kitchen table of these two women, whose names are Mariana Hatch, who was living in Durham, and Rosemary Coffin, who was living in Exeter. These visionary women began planning in the early 1980s with the goal of building a community where they could meet new friends, get involved in causes that they cared about, and stop worrying about what they're going to do for healthcare in the future. So they created RiverWoods Exeter, which opened in 1994. And today, more than 35 years after their first meeting, Mariana's dream was realized by opening the community in Durham, which is called RiverWoods Durham, which we opened in November of 2019. So RiverWoods really began as the dream of a small group of New Hampshire residents who wanted to create a better way to improve the experience of aging for others. So that dream really took off. And today, almost 30 years later, we are a dynamic family of 3 not-for-profit communities, all sharing the same mission, which is really to improve the experience of aging. All 3 of our communities in Exeter, Manchester, and Durham share the same values, and they're advised by a volunteer board of directors focused on operations. So a little bit about that structure is the RiverWoods Group is actually our supporting organization, and that provides professional fee-based services such as human resources, marketing, information technology, finance, and quality. And the RiverWoods Group actually funds any at-risk projects that the 3 communities may have, as well as any new ventures. But really important to know that the 3 communities, Manchester, Durham, and Exeter, are each financially independent of one another. And they do have the opportunity to provide additional funding to the RiverWoods Group based on their available assets. The group is advised by a volunteer board of directors who are focused on the mission and the growth of the organization. So that's a little bit about our structure. So drilling down into RiverWoods Exeter, we are comprised of 3 neighborhoods, which we call campuses, but all together we view ourselves as one community. The first campus to open was the Woods campus in 1994. That's where about half of our independent living population resides. We have 201 apartments there. 10 years later, we opened the Ridge campus in 2004, and that has 81 apartments and 11 cottages. And then in 2010, we opened the Boulders, which has 75 apartments and 24 cottages. Chrissy and I actually sit at the Ridge campus. That's where our marketing office is. But we sell across all three of these campuses. It's important to note when you are looking at continuing care retirement communities, whether or not they are accredited. RiverWoods Exeter is one of the few CCRCs that actually are accredited, and we are accredited by this organization known as CARF, which stands for the Commission for the Accreditation of Rehabilitation Facilities. Because we offer the full spectrum of healthcare, from independent living all the way through long-term care, we are considered a rehabilitation facility. And CARF is the nonprofit accreditor of health and human services throughout the world. However, only about 10% of continuing care retirement communities are actually accredited. And RiverWoods Exeter was one of the earliest to receive accreditation back in 1999. We just completed our reaccreditation, which runs on 5-year cycles, and we just got that approval for reaccreditation in September of this past year. If you want to know more about CARF, we've put their website here, which is www.carf.org. So if you are looking at other communities, CCRCs, and you want to understand if they're accredited or not, you can go to that website and find that out. So I'd like to talk a little bit about communities like ours, which provide what we call a life care solution. And life care, you'll hear these terms used interchangeably, CCRC or life care. And really what it is we are providing a long-term care insurance product. And we actually are, monitored by the state of New Hampshire Insurance Commission to provide long-term care to our residents, starting with independent living and going all the way through end-of-life care. So you're purchasing long-term care insurance when you come to RiverWoods. You will pay an entry fee when you move in, and 90% of that entry fee is refunded to your estate upon your death. And for that reason, it's considered a way to preserve your estate for your heirs. In addition to the entry fee, you will pay monthly fees. And we call these predictable monthly fees because the fee is the same regardless of what level of care you're receiving here at RiverWoods. And that is a feature of what's known as a Type A CCRC contract. So a Type A contract allows you to pay one fee, but it will cover any level of care, whether you're living independently or you're living in assisted living or nursing care, you will pay the same fee regardless of the level of care. So since none of us can really predict what will happen with our health, it allows us to have some reassurance that we know what that monthly fee will be, even though our health may be unpredictable. We have a really broad array of support here for your health care. So we are resourced to support both your current and your future healthcare needs. Within our independent living areas, we have wellness clinics that serve our independent residents, and those clinics are staffed by a nurse practitioner as well as an RN and social workers. They are not a replacement for your primary care physician, but they are there to provide walk-in services, as well as help you to monitor perhaps ongoing medical issues that you may have. Beyond the independent living wellness clinics, we have assisted living apartments for both singles and couples. And then we also offer memory support and nursing care. And those are within private suites within our community. We also offer respite care so that if you have something that has happened and you need care on a temporary basis, let's say you've had a joint replacement or you've had an unexpected medical event and you need to do some rehabilitation, you can do that right here within our community, within our healthcare lodges. We are overseen by a medical director whose name is Dr. Timothy Keenan. Dr. Keenan is affiliated with Core Physicians here in Exeter. And most of the services that you will receive through RiverWoods will be covered by your monthly service fee. If there are other actual medical services, they would be billed out to Medicare. And we do have some requirements around medical insurance when you come to live at RiverWoods. In addition to all these on-site healthcare services, we have a few hospitals in the area, including Exeter Hospital, which is just 3 miles down the road. And they are affiliated with Beth Israel Lahey Clinic. We also have Portsmouth Hospital about 25 minutes away. And then we have Wentworth Douglas Hospital up in Dover, New Hampshire, again, about a 25-minute drive. And they are part of the Mass General Network. We will talk a little bit about transportation, but we can get you to where you need to go for medical appointments. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. The wellness clinic, by the way, will offer also blood pressure measurement, wound care. They do flu vaccinations. You can get lab work done there, medication management, as well as referrals to specialists. So they provide a lot of support there. So on the topic of healthcare, we are actually going through an evolution right now here at RiverWoods Exeter because a lot has changed in the 30 years since we originally developed our community and the concept for how we wanted to serve our residents and support our residents. Today, and as we originally built the community, we have 3 healthcare lodges, one at each of our 3 campuses here. And those healthcare lodges provide various levels of healthcare, assisted living, long-term care, as well as memory support. We also offer short-term rehabilitation at our Ridge campus. But we've had some challenges with that as the decades have passed since we originally built our community. Starting with staffing inefficiencies, we have 3 small healthcare lodges, each which has maybe 30 to 35 residents, making it difficult to staff 24/7 with the required nursing staff. We also have limited amenities within these 3 healthcare lodges in terms of they don't have a fitness area, they don't have libraries, they have some limitations on the services. And then also they are now aging buildings that have a lot of limitations on updated technology. So for all of these reasons, we have we decided about 4 years ago to centralize our 3 healthcare lodges into one new healthcare center. And it will provide all the same levels of support, but we will also have a distinct memory support area within this campus. A lot of benefits to centralizing our healthcare services. First of all, it's going to be a beautiful building. We use this term biophilic, which is just really a design strategy to bring more access to nature, which is very healing. We are going to expand our physical amenities. So there will be a fitness room, there will be art space, there will be a hair salon, there will be a lot of unique amenities that are lacking today within our existing healthcare lodges. Because the building will be new, we'll be able to incorporate state-of-the-art technology. And thirdly, but really a critical need is to be much more efficient with our staffing so that if we have a nurse call in sick in a certain area, it makes it more easy to shift our staff around if they are all in one building rather than 3 buildings. So this building, which will be called the Lodge, will be located on our land here, just down the street from our Ridge campus. You're seeing a couple of images here, which are just renderings. A little bit has changed with the design since these renderings were originally created. But there will be a beautiful courtyard on the lower left. You'll see that we'll have a courtyard for assisted living and another courtyard for our memory care and nursing care residents. So nice access to nature. There will be a lot of light and natural materials that we'll be using for our finishes. So it's really going to be a beautiful, beautiful space. And it, again, will be located on White Oak Drive at the corner of White Oak Drive and Route 111. Right where we currently have our RiverWoods group building, as well as a recreational park. So it'll be going right on that land there. And we'll be providing shuttle service for our residents from all three campuses to this central healthcare lodge. We expect to break ground this year on the lodge and complete it sometime in 2027. Once we have our residents moved into this lodge, we're actually going to be taking our three prior health care lodges and turning that space into more independent living apartments. So we expect to add about 70 apartments for independent living that'll open up probably in the 2028, 2029 timeframe. So let's talk about services and amenities that you would receive here at RiverWoods. We have a super flexible dining program, so a portion of your monthly fee will provide you with meals. And we also have wonderful access to fitness resources. So each of our three campuses has a fitness center as well as an indoor pool. And we offer about 60 classes a week across group fitness classes across the three campuses. We have entertainment and cultural opportunities both on campus that we bring in, as well as off campus that we take field trips to go experience. We have an excellent transportation team that will get you not only between our three campuses, but also to important medical appointments, to the train station, and to other special events that are happening within the broader community. Your monthly service fee will also include housekeeping. So every 2 weeks, we will send in a cleaning person to clean your apartment or your cottage. And we offer a weekly flat linen service. So your sheets and your towels, we would launder for you on a weekly basis. We take care of all the interior and exterior home maintenance. So anything that might go awry, let's say you had an appliance that malfunctions, our team will come in and fix that or swap it out. So we take care of all those things that today might be a headache for you as a homeowner. You don't have to worry about that anymore. Your monthly service fee will cover your utilities, so your heat, your air conditioning, your electricity, your water. The only thing not included is cable TV, internet, and local phone service, but you can get those three services bundled together for about $95 a month. Your monthly service fee also covers access to the wellness clinic, which I talked about earlier. And then we also have 24-hour security and emergency response system built into our apartments. And so you will be able to rest assured that there's always somebody who can support you any hour of the day. So I'd like to talk a little bit about dining because that's a really important part of the socialization experience when you're living in a community like RiverWoods. Your monthly service fee will include a monthly bank of dining points that you can use either to eat in our dining room, you can use it for takeout meals, you can use it for guest meals if you have family or friends visiting. We offer catering, and then we have a perishable grocery in each of our three campuses that you can also use your dining points to purchase items there. You have access to 5 different restaurants here across our three campuses. So even if you're going to be living on one campus, you're not limited just to that dining room. You can dine at any of our three campuses. And our chefs work to be sensitive to residents' dietary preferences, whether that be being vegetarian or restrictions with gluten or dairy. And we try to do the best we can in terms of labeling our meals with ingredients and letting you know what will best align with your dietary preferences or restrictions. We try to source as much as we can locally. We have wonderful farms in the southeastern New Hampshire area. So whether it's produce or poultry or meats, dairy, we try to get as much as we can through our local farmers. This is a picture of one of our main dining rooms. This is at the Boulders campus. All of our dining rooms have fireplaces in them. So on a day like today, when it's winter, it's really cozy to have a nice fireplace to sit beside. And this is a picture of our bistro at our Ridge campus. So the Ridge campus actually has both a formal dining room as well as a more casual bistro where people are more apt to have lunch in the bistro. But again, you can eat at in any space that you like across the 3 campuses. And this is a picture of our country store. So the country store exists at all 3 campuses. However, the Woods has the most robust inventory. They have the most residents to serve there. And they offer a very broad array of items here, ranging from, Cheerios to body lotion to cookies to yogurt. Items purchased in this particular country store are the purchase price is added to your monthly bill. So this is not, you would not use dining points in this particular area, but it makes it really convenient to be able to get some quick things without having to get in your car and go to the store. We purchase all these items at Market Basket and price them the same. And the country stores are run by our residents. So they do all the purchasing and the stocking and the staffing of these stores, but wonderful, wonderful convenience. I'm going to turn it over to Chrissy now so she can fill you in a little bit more about what there is to do at RiverWoods, as well as what some of our apartments and our cottages look like.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you everybody for taking the time out of your day to take a look at RiverWoods and see what we're all about. I have the fun part of showing you how you make RiverWoods Exeter your community and continue your passions that you already have. So we'll be looking at some of the activities here, as well as some of the apartment styles and cottage styles as we go along. As Lisa mentioned, we do have a lot of events that are brought into RiverWoods Exeter. And so Boulders Hall is what you're looking at here, which is our largest gathering space, and it will seat up to 200 people, theater style. And we host lectures, performances. They have large resident parties in this area. We have resident events, including concerts and lectures, community updates. There are community spaces in each one of our campuses. So this is the Boulders campus. We just increased the size of our Ridge room at the Ridge campus when we renovated the Ridge a couple of years ago. And then Boulders Hall, the Great Bay room at the Woods is another large space. So you can have events at each one of our campuses. And we're able to accommodate a large number of residents there. The most recent event, I should probably get even more recent, but the one that comes to mind that we had here at Boulders Hall included our local author, Dan Brown. And we've also hosted political presidential candidates during the primary season. One of the things we really like to point out is the educational enrichment that we provide here. We have a wonderful, very active education committee that is all run by our residents. The mission of the committee is an all-campus committee, and their mission is to provide enrichment opportunities to our residents through educational programs, lectures, and short courses. And we cater to a wide variety of interests. So we use inside speakers and outside speakers to accommodate that mission. As I mentioned, the committee is resident run, and they will meet regularly to discuss opportunities for the next year's worth of lectures, trips, and courses that we will host here. And then also we'll work right in collaboration with our community life team here to promote the events and book the spaces on our 3 campuses. In 2023, and we'll probably do another study to see how many we did in 2024, but in 2023, there were more than 20 in-person programs provided across all 3 campuses here. And the topics covered a huge variety of interests, including art, history, crafts, performances, archaeology, geology, nature, travel, all of our local services in the area, town departments of Exeter, literature, our environment, issues around aging, and you name it, many, many more. We continue your education through all 3 of our libraries here at RiverWoods Exeter. So there's a library at each of our campuses, our Woods, Ridge, and Boulders campuses, and they are interconnected on a electronic card catalog. So if you are looking for a book at one particular library and can't find it there, you can generally find it at one of the other libraries here on campus, and they'll send the book over to you wherever you are. You also have the benefit as a resident of Exeter to go to our downtown Exeter library as well, where they have a huge number of books, but also courses and opportunities for you there as a local resident. So for those of you who like to exercise your mind, but also your body, there are many opportunities here to express yourself physically. We have, you name it. You can take laps in one of our indoor pools, work out in one of our fitness centers. We have courses guided by one of our trained instructors. We have walking trails, so opportunities to be a member of one of our walking groups, our cycling and hiking groups. We are connected here by over 4 miles of hiking or snowshoe trails. So lots to do indoors and out, and we'll talk a little bit more specifically about that going forward. This is our boulders pool, which was just newly resurfaced, so that there are actually lines on the bottom of the pool. So if you're a lap swimmer, you can swim much more easily knowing that you're staying in your lane. And we do have a pool at each one of our campuses. This is the Boulders pool, which is 20 yards long. The Ridge has a 15 yard long pool. And then the Woods is also 20 yards long. Great for swimming, but also for your aqua aerobics courses. And also welcome to bring your grandchildren and have a nice afternoon in the pool with your grandchildren. We do keep the pool at a comfortable 84 degrees. I think it ranges between 84 and 88 degrees, trying to accommodate the swimmers, but also the people who like to enjoy a warm pool. Now you're looking at our Boulders Fitness Center. And if you're looking at all the equipment there, if you're a member of a local gym, you will find all of that same equipment in each one of our fitness centers here at RiverWoods Exeter. So if you're walking down the hall in your building, you have absolutely no excuse to get that 30 minutes of cardio in. We also have pickleball courts. I know there's a big craze out there for pickleball players. So if you have a pickleball community near you now, you will likely be very excited to find the pickleball community here at RiverWoods. We have 2 courts located at Gooch Park, which is that park that will be surrounding the new healthcare center. And then we will maintain those courts as well. So we had one pickleball court, added a second one at the request of our residents. And you're looking at a picture here of 2 of our happy pickleball players who are always encouraging new members to join them. And we'll even give little tutorials for you if you're interested in getting started. Now, we talked about reading and we talked about exercise, but there are many artists out there that I know. I tour people all the time and find all these budding artists or people who've been artists for years. You can continue your exploring your creative side here at Riverwoods, and art is a very important aspect of life here. We have an art studio at each studio, at least one at each campus. You're looking at a resident here who hadn't painted for many years before coming here, and he was so motivated by all the other artists that are here. He began his craft again, and you will often see him every morning, just keep painting and honing his craft. But we also have artists from the outside coming in to teach courses here, as well as residents here who have been art teachers in their previous life and love to continue their teaching while they're here. I guess we can continue to the next slide. You can see one of our art studios. This is where that resident you just saw was working. And he loves this particular art studio at the Woods because of the great natural light that comes in here. As well as another great spot for the Nantucket basket weaving, which you can see in the lower left corner. We have residents who have continually taught other residents to teach. And it started day one when people moved into the Woods campus. So everyone who moves into RiverWoods Exeter at least comes in to learn how to make one basket while they're here. And many will stick with it and continue to make many, many more. We also have wonderful woodworking artists here, and you're looking at a group of our residents here who are all craftsmen. And they will, we have a wonderful woodworking studio at the Woods and one as well at the Ridge campus. You'll see somebody in there every afternoon at least working on something. And as you can see, many different kinds of projects from cutting boards to trail maintenance signs, canoe paddles, furniture, you name it. They enjoy crafting it and working together to make beautiful things. Our musicians are also extremely important here too. So if you are a singer or love to play an instrument, or maybe you haven't played an instrument in years and would like to start doing it again, we have musical groups, including a woman's barbershop quartet, a recorder group, a string quartet. We have a group of people who play the ukulele together. But we as a RiverWoods community will often benefit from this talent because during some of our programs that we have here, we will hear the RiverWoods chorus or somebody playing piano for one of our events. And so we always enjoy hearing the musical talent that we have here at RiverWoods Exeter. And I know a lot of you now have already put your gardens to bed for the winter, but are looking forward to the spring where you revive your plantings and continue your gardening passion. So have no fear, you can continue that as a RiverWoods resident as well. So if you love to garden, you can always exercise your green thumb here in one of our raised garden beds. We have a greenhouse at the Woods where you can start to germinate plants before the spring. We have a very active garden committee who will also work alongside our landscaping team to create a lot of gardens throughout our campus, including our entryways. And we also make every effort to practice organic landscaping techniques throughout our campuses. So that's very important to us as well. One of the other interesting facts that about RiverWoods Exeter is that we are home to New Hampshire's largest arboretum here with over 300 species of trees and shrubs. We also maintain beehives here, but with two of our staff members who are beekeepers, and we also have a couple of our residents who continue to help them who are also beekeepers. And we've been successful, and so successful that we've been able to sell our honey in the country stores here at each campus. We also have a barn, which is located over by our Boulders campus with 3 goats, which we inherited from a nearby farm. So another fun thing to visit when you're on one of your walks throughout our campuses. Now we're going to move on to our apartments and cottages and all the things that they feature. Take a peek at a few of our living spaces along the way. We have more than 40 different floor plans across all three of our campuses here. And I'll show you a few examples in the next few slides. All of our apartments and cottages feature a fully equipped kitchen, your individually controlled heating and air conditioning, very individually Wi-Fi enabled in each apartment and cottage. I will show you a main feature of our apartments here at RiverWoods Exeter, that we have a solarium, which brings a lot of beautiful natural light into your apartment. Each person has an ability for a storage area in each apartment, 24-hour emergency response and safety systems as well. And you have the ability for outdoor parking with one of your apartment with one or two spaces with an apartment, and a two-car garage in our cottages, with some opportunities for undercover parking as well at an extra fee. Now, this is one of our apartments at the Woods called a Trillium, which is a large one-bedroom, and you can see a spacious living room here. And in the back, you'll notice that solarium that I mentioned. So that's what's bringing in beautiful light. The first floor apartments have a doorway and access to the outdoors. And the second floor or second and third at the Ridge and Boulders will offer beautiful sunlight pouring in throughout all the windows in that area. You can note some of our standard choices in this picture, looking at the luxury vinyl flooring in the common areas, and the ability to bring in your own rugs for your decor. This is the same. This is the same apartment. A different view of it. This is one of our kitchens. It's been newly remodeled. So if the cabinets are aging cabinets, we will replace them with these beautiful white painted shaker style cabinets. You'll have a choice of quartz or granite on your counters with beautiful stainless steel appliances. And we are opening our kitchens at the Woods. You'll see that here on the right corner, so that you have the access to that beautiful sunshine in the living room. This is another apartment. This was one at our Ridge campus called a Magnolia, which is one of our large 2 bedrooms. Again, you're looking at a beautiful, spacious living room with a view of basically from the kitchen here. Another option there, the stone countertops. And again, I'll point out that beautiful solarium letting in all that nice bright sunshine. I like this picture because, again, this is another apartment style. This is a cypress at the Boulders campus, but it's really showing you that you can bring your home into your new apartment. This was, all done with beautiful neutral colors, and they were able to bring in the furniture they loved from their home and really make it their own when they moved in here. And this is a nice spacious kitchen. You can see this is one of our cottage kitchens, the spruce cottage. And again, beautiful cabinets, stainless steel appliances, stone countertops, plenty of room to cook if you still like to cook your own meals. A nice space to be in. So when you're looking at RiverWoods Exeter, don't just look at our community proper. I mean, we are located on 200 acres right near the Exeter River, which is wonderful. But we are also located right next to downtown Exeter. We have easy access to Portsmouth and Manchester, Portland and Boston. We are close proximity to our New Hampshire seacoast, also our mountains and lakes region. So when you're looking at RiverWoods Exeter, also make sure to look around the outside community, because you can explore and really get a feel of what Exeter and what the seacoast area is like in this area. And I'm sure if you've done some research already, you will know that New Hampshire has a lot of tax advantages, including no general sales tax, no personal income tax, no capital gains tax. We are top ranked as a New England state and fifth lowest tax burden in the country. So if you haven't looked that up, you should do some research on that as well. And I will go over a little bit of the pricing. This is kind of just a range of pricing for you. We will, if you're interested, reach out to your sales counsel. We could give you a much more detailed summary sheet. But just to go over a few, we have apartments that range from all the way from a studio, which is about 500 or almost 600 square feet, all the way to a cottage, which can be up to over 2,000 square feet. And the entrance fees range from 237,000 all the way to just over $1 million. That would be a first person entrance fee. If you're a couple, you would add the second person entrance fee of $60,000, and that would just be added to any of those first person fees. And then the monthly fees range anywhere from just over $3,000 a month to almost $10,000 a month. And you would add $2,052 to as a second person. And again, it's complicated. We have over 40 different floor plans. So if you want the more specific summary, your sales counsel would be happy to share that with you. Obviously, you can probably tell the first person entrance fee is based on the apartment size and as well as the monthly fee. And the second person monthly fee and entrance fee would be the same regardless of the size of the apartment. Okay, so I've given you my information. Now, if you are interested and ready to join our wait list, Lisa has some more information for you.
Great, thanks so much, Chrissy. So I know we're throwing a lot of information at you. You may not be ready to sign up yet, but I'm going to give you some information on how our waitlist process works. Before I get into depth on that, just to let you know, this is one of our group shots of the bocce players at our Woods campus. Very enthusiastic group where the dress code required is striped socks. We do also have horseshoes at that campus, and we also have a bocce court, brand new bocce court over at the Ridge campus. So there's a lot of fun to be had here, both indoors and out. We have a lot of games to be played, and residents like to have fun and stay fit while having fun. So we do have a wait list here at RiverWoods, and we are currently estimating anywhere from 3 to 8 years wait time for apartments and cottages. And I realize that's a very big span of time. So it really depends on what you are interested in size-wise. The lesser wait times are for our 1-bedroom apartments, and the longer wait times are for our largest 2-bedroom apartments and our cottages. So we're estimating between 6 and 8 years for our largest apartments and our cottages. If you are interested in applying to join our wait list, you would complete what we call a confidential data profile that would determine your financial qualification. And once you are approved, you would sign a waitlist agreement, and then depending upon the floor plan that you've been qualified for and that you want to make a deposit on, you would place what we call a reservation fee. And that fee ranges anywhere from $25,000 for a studio apartment up to $99,000 for our largest apartments and our cottages. And that fee can be applied or is applied to your entry fee when you move into the community. If you do move into the community, that reservation fee will earn 4% simple interest. And if you decide to leave the wait list, you'll get everything fully refunded except for $1,000 cancellation fee. And the interest that we would pay in that event, if you left our wait list, would be 0.25% rather than the 4%. It's a very flexible process. You tell us when you're ready. There's no penalty if we happen to call you before you're ready to talk to you about an apartment. I know different communities have different processes. Ours is very unique from others, and we realize that the reservation fee that we require is also unique. So really people who are on our wait list are people that are really clear that RiverWoods is the community of choice for them. But it's Chrissy's and mine and Dan's role to work with the folks who are on our wait list to make sure that that we are advocating for you and that we'll be able to have something for you at the time that you feel you're ready to come here. So we are almost to the point of the questions and answers. Chrissy and I are going to go through a few questions that we get asked quite frequently. And if we haven't answered your questions by the time we get through this slide, please go ahead and submit your questions through the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. And we'd be happy to answer those within the time remaining. And we have 15 more minutes, so we have plenty of time to get through questions. So I'm going to let Chrissy, you answer this first question if you want to read it aloud and then answer it for residents.
Yep. The first question is, if I have long-term care insurance, can I use this at RiverWoods Exeter? And the answer to that is yes, you can, but long-term care is actually what is part of our services here at RiverWoods. When you know what your monthly service fee is going to be as you transition into the different levels of care, that is kind of considered what your long-term care policy would be. It's a little bit redundant if you have one. People sometimes have had one for a long time and are not paying much money on it anymore, so will choose to keep it. And if you do choose to keep it, you may file claims with your provider and get reimbursed. Once you move into assisted living here or nursing care, memory care, even if you brought in some in-home health care, your long-term care policy would reimburse you for part of your monthly service fee. But it would be something done by you. The others will come here, live for a year at RiverWoods and decide if they're paying too much for long-term care insurance and they will drop their policy. But there are people in our finance team who could even give you some advice or talk to you and look at your policy once you're a resident and discuss it with you so you can make that decision.
Great. The next question is, what happens if one partner in a couple needs a higher level of care? So the beautiful thing about the way our fees work is if one of you needs a higher level of care due to some decline in your health or diagnosis and needs to move to assisted living or nursing or memory care, the healthy partner can remain in the independent living residence while the partner who needs more support moves into either an assisted living apartment or a nursing care level, which would be a private suite. And your monthly fee remains the same, even though you're occupying 2 apartments. You're going to continue paying the same monthly fee that you did as if you were in 1 apartment. The only difference is the person who goes into some level of assisted living or higher level of healthcare would pay for 2 more meals a day because we provide 3 meals a day in that situation. All right, next question, Chrissy.
I'll take care of the next one. What if I'm not ready to move in when you call me about an apartment? Do I go to the bottom of the list? Lisa touched on this a little bit on the last slide, but as she mentioned, we have a very flexible policy. What happens when we get to you on the list is we will give you a phone call and we will let you know that there's something available and ask you if you're ready and interested to pursue the offer. If you answer no, that you're not ready yet, you're hoping to wait for another couple of years or so, we just move on to the next person on the list and there's no penalty to you at all. If you happen to say that you're interested in pursuing our offer, first you would have to conduct a final financial qualification and we would set up a health assessment with you with our nurse practitioner here before even showing you the apartment. Once those 2 qualifications have been met, we would show you the apartment and that would be considered the formal offer. Once you looked at the apartment, even maybe took a look at some of the personalizations you could choose from, you would have 3 days to decide from the day that you looked at the apartment to the day that you decided if you wanted it or not. And if you decided to not accept the offer, that would be considered one refusal. And you have 3 refusals before you would go to the bottom of the list. And, you know, I've been here for many years and I've never seen that happen because most often, if you're ready to, even pursue the offer, you're usually ready to move into RiverWoods. And the last question, Lisa.
Yeah, so this is kind of piggybacking on Chrissy's conversation about our offer process. If you do decide to and accept, you've been requalified financially and medically, and we offer you an apartment or a cottage. It generally is taking us 60 days to do a refurbishment of that apartment or cottage. And you would be required to close on it and pay your entry fee at the time that the apartment is ready. And generally, that is a minimum of 60 days, but we try to start calling people well before that, sometimes up to a month before the apartment or cottage even comes onto the market, but we know it's going to. So we try to give you as much time as possible to prepare for that. Cottages can sometimes take a little bit longer. Sometimes they can take up to 90 days for renovation because there's just more space that we need to do construction on. But the general requirement would be 60 days. Okay, so we're going to go to our question queue. And Chrissy, do you want to answer this first one about the declining balance?
Yes. Do you still offer a declining balance entry fee? This is getting a little bit more into our contract types. Our most common is the 90% contract, which would mean you pay the entrance fee and the monthly fee. The entrance fee would be 90% refundable to your estate if you died here, or to you if you decided to leave RiverWoods. We do have 2 other contract types that can be used. One is a 50% refundable contract, so you would then get 50% of your entrance fee back. And then the declining balance would mean you would get, after about 2 to 3 years of living here, 0% of your entrance fee would go back to you. However, with the entrance fee, with the monthly fee, with the 50% and declining balance contracts, you would get a specific discount on your monthly fee based on the youngest person moving into your apartment at the time of entry. If you need more information, one of your sales counselors, Lisa or Dan, and I could be a little more specific.
Yeah, and it's important to know, while we have these other contract types, they don't make sense for most people. You'd have to live until about 120, age 120 to break even on what you give up. But for some people, it does make sense. People who don't have children or their children don't need their money. And that's why we offer those alternate contract types. We have a question, Chrissy, I'll just handle these next couple. Is the required application data the same across the 3 RiverWoods communities? The answer is yes. We use the same data. So if you were looking at more than one community, we could see what you're qualified for financially in the others. Next question, does a 90% refunded entry fee to our estate include interest? No, it does not. You earn interest on your reservation fee, but your entry fee, the amount that's refunded to you, does not earn interest while it's sitting with us. It's money that we put to work to help pay for our operations of the community. Chrissy, you want to answer the one about increases?
Yes. So how much can monthly fees increase year to year? Generally, you can expect an increase of about 3 to 5% each year. This year it was 3.25% interest, and the increases will occur on July 1st of every year.
Question about what percentage of people on the wait list don't qualify the health test when it's time to move in. I would say that that happens not a lot. But when it does, we sometimes do take people directly into assisted living if they are interested in that. We do, a handful of direct admissions into assisted living here at RiverWoods Exeter. And sometimes those applicants are people who have been on our wait list who no longer qualify medically for independent living. And it is kind of a silver lining of being on our wait list is that you can get priority placement into assisted living here if we have capacity for it.
I'll take the next one. How is the decision made for a resident to move to a higher level of care? Can an outside supportive service be utilized in an independent living apartment? The decision is made, it takes a long time. Often you make it between yourselves, any family members that you would like involved in the decision process, and our nurse practitioner here. We have nurse practitioners in our wellness clinics at each campus, and you get to know them very well as an independent resident. And when there are signs that maybe it would be helpful to you to move into assisted living or get a higher level of care, the conversation begins, and you alone make that decision. But there are other people who you can communicate with and have involved with that. That being said, the answer, yes, you can have outside supportive services utilized in your independent living apartment, and they would work alongside our wellness clinic. But that is allowed if that was something you wanted to do before transitioning into a different level of care.
And I put up this next slide because it's relevant to the question that was just asked. And this is an annual healthcare panel that we do each year. So on Tuesday, January 28th at 1 o'clock, we're hosting this webinar, What You Need to Know About Healthcare at RiverWoods. And we're going to have the whole kind of panel of healthcare pros here at RiverWoods talking about what services are provided within each level of care here, from independent living all the way through long-term care. So if you're interested in learning more about the services that we provide, I'm going to leave this slide up. You can scan the QR code, or you can go to our website and sign up for that. I'll answer the next question. Are the other two RiverWoods locations accredited? The answer is no. And part of that is because they're newer communities and they don't have as much time under the RiverWoods brand name. It's quite an intensive application process with CARF, where you need to provide a lot of historical information. That is why neither the Manchester or the Durham communities have gone through that process yet, because they're still relatively young. I mean, Durham is about 5 years old, and the Manchester one has only been under the brand name of RiverWoods for a few years. There's also was another question before that question was dismissed about the new healthcare center. And I'm going to tackle that as well as another one coming up about the healthcare center. So those of you who are more local may have been reading in the press some of the resistance there have been from our immediate neighbors, and some of the the process with the town zoning board and the town planning board. And we are working through all of those issues. We've gotten past the zoning board. We've submitted our plan to the town planning board for the healthcare center. We are expecting them to make a decision on that approval for what we've submitted I think this next week or the week after, sometime in the latter half of this month. So we're confident that all that will be approved and that we can get to work with breaking ground. The next phase of submission after this one, though, is going to be the plan that we submit for our independent living residences that we'll be adding to all three of our campuses. Okay, Chrissy, you want to answer the one about the number of residents?
Yep, sure. So currently, we have about 526 residents throughout all three campuses. And if you want to kind of break those down, our Woods campus has the most apartments, 201. So we have 251 residents there. Our Ridge campus has about 128, and our Boulders campus has 147. You'll see that increase just because we have more cottages, so more couples in those cottages.
Okay. Um, I'm going to answer this one because we are real tight on time here. If you change your mind about what size apartment you want, do you maintain your position on the wait list? Really great question. We keep a separate wait list for every style of apartment and cottage. You make one deposit or reservation fee that covers your place on any of those wait lists that you're qualified for. Over the course of time that you're waiting to come live at RiverWoods, you can make any sort of modifications that you want at or below the level on which you placed your reservation fee. Because you'll come and see us a couple of times over the course of the years that you're waiting, and you may decide you want to refine those choices or go bigger or go smaller. And that's Chrissy's and my roles as your sales advocates here to help you figure that out. So your place in line on any of those lists is always based on your initial deposit date. Chrissy, do you want to answer this question about the advantages of each campus, and then we'll wrap it up?
Sure. The advantages of each campus. I mean, the campuses are all nicely close together, with ability to travel back and forth between the campuses with our campus service vehicles. So, you get a benefit of having all three communities, even if you're living in one. Um, it's really hard to say what the advantages of each campuses are, as far as I'm concerned. I think you have to come here and see which one appeals to you more. Some people like the Woods campus because there are more people there. There's just a lot more hustle and bustle. They like that social aspect of it. And other people like the smaller campuses because they're a little bit quieter. And then of course, there's always the different apartment styles that some people have preferences over. So I think the nice thing about RiverWoods Exeter is that you get the benefit of all three campuses and only living on one building.
Great. Thanks, Chrissy.
Mhm.
So I talked to you about the healthcare panel coming up. I also wanted to let you know about our annual downsizing webinar. We do this every year, and every year we bring in a different expert. So on February 28th, we're bringing in Matt Paxton, who is an expert on clutter and hoarding and stuff and how to get rid of it. So Thursday, February 20th from 1 to 2 o'clock. Join us if you want some inspiration on how to get rid of that stuff before you come to live at RiverWoods. I think you'll really enjoy that event. And most all of our events are recorded and put up on our website. So if you happen to miss them, you can find them there. The exception being this webinar that you're watching right now, we do not put up on our website, but we're happy to share a recording of it with you that you can view later or share with friends or family. So that is a wrap on what Chrissy and I have to share today. We want to thank you all for joining. Hopefully that you feel this has been worth your time. And we will be following up with you to see if you have further questions or if you'd like to schedule a visit to come see us. We would love to have you. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for joining.